The Pointing Dog Social Club is a celebration of good dogs, good people, and the great outdoors. We meet every week on the Courthouse Square of lovely Pointing Dog, Tennessee. We now join a meeting in progress with your host, Dr. John White.
Bonza Hatchie.
Thank you, and welcome to another meeting of the Pointing Dog Social Club. And oh, have we ever got a multi-talented fellow with us tonight? He's a singer-songwriter. He's a record producer. He's a raconteur. He is something else. He's my good buddy, Mr. Tim Mckeon. Tim has played session work or played behind some of the greatest acts in America, and he's played sessions in some of the most famous music studios in America. Electric Lady in New York, Jimi Hendrix's old studio, is one that I'll mention. But also, he's built a beautiful studio in Columbia, Tennessee, which is right down the road from Pointing Dog, as you know. And he's recording some great acts. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But for right now, let's just bring him up here. Mr. Tim Mckeon, everybody. Well, Tim, it's so great to have you with us.
John, it's great to see you again.
Well, it's always a pleasure for you, I know. But Tim, I tell you, we got to know one another. You helped me out on a few occasions, and you've always come through like a champ. We won't talk about those occasions because everybody else thought they was train wrecks. Tell us a little bit about your music career.
Well, I've been playing ever since I was a kid. And, you know, your parents, they tell you, put that guitar down and go get a job. Mm-hmm. You'll never, get a career out of it.
And where did you grow up, by the way, Tim?
Small town, Mckeon, New Jersey.
Okay.
So
that's middle New Jersey, right?
Yes. So I'm a transplanted Yankee.
Okay.
But, I was Yankee by birth, not by choice. Uh-huh. This is where I belong.
You got that straight. So anyway, you've been playing all your life, and they said, hey, you'll never amount to anything. Put that guitar down. And tell me how you got into professional playing.
Well, I took an audition, and it was more than I thought it was going into it. And I met some really good people up in New York, Capitol Records. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. And
what was the band that you auditioned for?
Mr. Blue.
Mr. Blue
was the name of it.
And they never had a huge hit, but they had that record deal, and you all performed a lot, didn't you? Opened for people, didn't you?
Yes, we performed quite a bit. I think we were doing about close to 350 shows a year for the first 2 years.
Wow.
And our producer manager, he had a band in the 70s called the Stanky Brown Group. Mm-hmm. His name was Jim Brown. Not a fan of the man himself, but he taught me quite a bit. Excuse me, about the music industry, and I just took it from there.
You said, and how did you segue from the band into session work?
Well, that kind of happened by chance. A good friend of mine, a session player, couldn't make a session and recommended me to go and, cover for him. And when I went to cover for him, other producers, managers were in the area, and they said, hey, could you do some work for us? It's kind of like doing contracting work or as a painter or anything else, You do a good job for one person, and
right. They
word
take
of mouth
notice.
kind of gets you going a little bit.
Now, I mentioned Electric Lady. What about some of the other studios that you've done session work in?
The Sound Factory in New Jersey, they're no longer there.
But very famous.
Pretty famous, yeah. A lot of people, that's where I met Greg Allman.
And you went down to Muscle Shoals.
Played down in Muscle Shoals. I've done sessions there. Mm-hmm. Pretty much halfway across the country. Mm-hmm. But mainly my home base was at Electric Lady. Mm-hmm. Now, a band would go on tour and they would need a guitar player, and because I knew their material, then I had the opportunity to tour as well. Mm-hmm. So that put me, in different places.
Yeah, you were with Greg Allman,
Yeah, I know you have another show with a guy named Chief Smiley Ricks.
That's it.
And
you introduced. Well, I'd actually met Chief Smiley, but you brought us back together. Great guy.
And we actually met years and years ago in Europe while he was on tour with somebody and I was on tour. And
you were with George Clinton?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny. He was with Dr. John.
Okay.
And it's funny years later for us to end up in the same small town.
Isn't that wild?
Next to your small town.
Yeah, right next to Pointing Dog.
Which is, what a coincidence.
Mercy is coincidence. In fact, speaking of Mercy, you do a wonderful cover of Peter Gabriel's Mercy Street. Could you play that for us?
I will.
I think that'd be a good icebreaker. Mr. Tim Mckeon and Mercy Street.
Looking down on empty streets, all she can see are the dreams all made solid, are the dreams all made real. All of the buildings and all of the cars were once just a dream in somebody's head. She pictures the broken glass, pictures the steam. She pictures a soul with no leak at the seam. Let's take the boat out, wait until darkness. Let's take the boat out, wait until darkness comes. Nowhere in the corridors of pale green and gray, nowhere in the suburbs, in the cold light of day. There in the midst of it, so alive and alone, words support like bone, dreaming of Mercy Street, where you're inside out, dreaming of mercy. In your daddy's arms again, dreaming of Mercy Street. I'd swear they moved that sign, dreaming of mercy. In your daddy's arms. Pulling out the papers from the smooth sliding drawers, tugging at the darkness, word for word, confessing all the secret things in the warm velvet box. To the priest, he's the doctor, he can handle the shock. Dreaming of the tenderness like the tremble in the hips of kissing Mary's lips, dreaming of Mercy Street, where you're inside out, dreaming of mercy. In your daddy's arms again, dreaming of Mercy Street. I'd swear they moved that sign, dreaming of mercy. In your daddy's arms again. is out at the boat, riding the water, riding the waves on the sea.
Oh, Lord, Tim, you did a fantastic job on that, as always.
Well, thank you.
Tim,